and welcome to another episode of intelliTALKS. And today I have a very, very hot topic and a very special guest. Everyone, please welcome Shane Barker. Welcome, Shane.
Hey, what's going on, man? How are you doing? Thank you so much for having me today. This is exciting.
Well, I'm very, very, happy to have you here and discuss this because this is like a very powerful topic that we have here, and a lot of people are, just tackling and maybe thinking about it, but we want to get deep into it, and yeah. But before we go there, please tell everyone a little bit about yourself, a little bit about the company, about Tracefuse, and yeah, how you got things together.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, my background historically is in the digital space. So I've done digital marketing, websites, SEO, backlinks, brand mentions, PR, all that fun stuff. And then we actually, the way that we got in the Amazon space is we had some clients that were in the e-commerce space and saw a great opportunity in Amazon. Obviously, it's a huge behemoth of a platform and only growing. And so we knew there were some opportunities there. And we'd always want to create some kind of like a SaaS type product. And so we're kind of asking around and saying, hey, what are your biggest pain points? And at that time, one of the biggest pain points was, the reviews. And so, not only getting positive reviews, which is something that we had took a look at back in the day, but really getting rid of the negative reviews, right? And so our thing was we didn't want to just get rid of any negative reviews, right? We wanted to make sure that we were fully compliant with Amazon and white hat. And so what we looked at was like, hey, what about reviews that are against Amazon's guidelines? Right. And then later on, we end up adding on another component of looking at things that are fraudulent, right? So if you have fraudulent reviews, so those are the two things that we look at is things that are in violation, people cussing, mentioning competitors, pricing, maybe FBA related stuff. So it could be shipping, that kind of thing. And then we take a look at what we call like sock puppet accounts, right? So if somebody comes in and, attacks your brands and gives you 5 1 stars, and as consumers, we don't, if you buy a product and you hate it and you give it a 1 star, you're not going to buy another one. You're definitely not going to buy a 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So those are the types of things that it flags our system, and our system goes and takes a look at it. And then we take a look at the buyer's account and see if somebody is also, giving our people the 5-star, the 1 stars, 5 of the 1 stars, and giving the competitors all 5 stars, and they have comparable products, then we would file an escalation case with Amazon. So this thing has grown into a violation type stuff, and then also fraud is another thing that we take a look at because there can be a lot of fraud on Amazon potentially, right? With certain categories, obviously, are more aggressive, and I think we'll probably go on that a little later here in the presentation.
Yeah. That's so true, and this is like something that a lot of people are actually overlooking to actually look into the reviews and see the patterns and see if maybe their brand is under attack. And sometimes you can get a lot of bad reviews. And the bad thing, that the worst thing that happens when you get bad reviews is that you also get less visibility from Amazon. So whenever you get a 1-star review, your let's say the emails that Amazon sends to the customers about, hey, you added this item to cart, you want to maybe continue and purchase it, or maybe here are some recommendations. That kind of emails are not being sent out for your product anymore because you got a bad review. But removing it and focusing on the good reviews, it can also definitely do the reverse of that, get you more visibility and more sales at the end of the day. But Shane,
I mean, I was just going to tell you, the reviews are really the core of Amazon. If you really think about it, I think, and you just touched on it, there's so many behind the scene things that I think people don't realize that if you get bad reviews, it not only affects your BSR and your star rating, but there's functionality on the back end that you will be cut off from. And that can be advertising. I have people that weren't able to advertise because they were below a 4.0, like during the Christmas season. So there's a lot of things that happen. And unfortunately, it's really kind of breaks my heart, but there's a lot of people that, once again, will attack you, knowing that, guess what, that's going to push you down in your sales. You reach out to Amazon. If Amazon isn't removing those reviews, guess what? You're going to be missing out on the biggest time of the season, right? That could be Christmas. That can be, summertime. That can be Prime Day, obviously, that comes around. Unfortunately, there's strategically people do that. I don't think it's obviously ethical or a way to do business. But at the end of the day, it's happening. And it's like, how are you going to combat it? You got to be kind of ready for that. Just because somebody isn't supposed to come at you doesn't mean they're not going to come at you, right? And what are you doing to prepare yourself for that? So one of our big things has been monitoring, right? So now we offer a thing where we monitor. So now it's like not only going after the past reviews, but how would you like to be protected moving forward? And so monitoring is something that we included as well. Yeah, because that's the big thing is like, well, great, you cleaned up all your reviews. You got you back up to wherever you need to be, that 4.3 or whatever that pivotal point is for you. But guess what? That doesn't mean you're not going to get attacked. And when you get attacked, how is that going to work? And so now what we want to do, what we're encouraging all of our clients and people that are listening to this that aren't signed up with us, is to be more proactive than reactive, right? It's very easy to be reactive. Once your sales go down, then you're in an oh crap moment. Like, oh man, I got to figure out everything I do to get that up. Well, guess what? With our services and how we do things, when we file cases, we're not filing tons of cases at a time. So, you're not going to see amazing, crazy results out of the gate, because guess what? We're very conservative in our case filing. So the thing is you want to give yourself a month or two to clean up your listing and to get that monitoring up ahead of time. You don't want to be the person, the analogy I always use, I tell people, hey, it's like getting a car alarm on your car after it just got broken into already, right? Like, it's like, I'm not saying it's too late, but it would have been nice if you would have had that, so they went to the neighbor's car and not your car. Not that I want anybody's car to get broken into, but there's certain things people look at this and say, okay, hey, I'm going to go on to the next one because I see the blinking little red light. So anyways, this is going to be awesome. I'm excited, man.
Yeah. That's actually amazing. And the proactive, I like proactive approaches because, sometimes it's, it's not about fixing whatever they're, putting out the fires. We are used sometimes to go just after the fires. Whenever you see a fire, at least you have a target. And it's in the human psychology, it's like that. You see a fire, you go put it out. But how about not, allowing that moment, that spark to actually ignite? And in the Amazon space, that will potentially bring down sales. And we do not want that for anyone, because we are working very hard for those sales, for the visibility, for that product validation, if you will. And the good reviews are hard to get, even though that is a huge,
That's the problem, is like most of the time, if people have a bad experience and they're writing about it, if they have a great experience, they don't write about it historically. Yeah. So that's the hard part, is getting positive reviews is becoming harder, and removing negative reviews people used to think was impossible unless you're doing some, black hat tactics or doing something that's illegal. And so we jumped in the space a few years ago. I'll be honest, when people were first kind of looking at me like, is this black hat? Is this legit? And I'm like, listen, the reason I put my face on the company is because I've been in the digital space. I used to teach at UCLA. I created their influencer marketing program. Like, I have a long history, and it's like, first of all, I wouldn't do an ethical business, but then I put my face in the business because guess what? I wanted people to know, hey, you can look me up. I'm not, I'm not going to hide. We're not, I'm not collecting money in an alleyway, in an envelope. Like, we're here, and we're moving reviews, and we'll talk about kind of how methodology and how we do things. And I'm going to have a little surprise for everybody at the end of the presentation. Actually, I have two surprises. So one of them is, from you guys. Once again, you guys are helping. Anyways, we'll leave that at the end. I don't want to give out too much information early.
No worries, guys. Stay with us until the end, because Shane has some really nice golden nuggets that he wants to share. And Shane, okay, let's dive a bit into the technicalities, if you will, and how can you leverage, for example, and how do you remove reviews? Let's explain everyone how that works.
Absolutely. So I figure we'll jump right into the presentation.
All right, I will add it to the stage here. And awesome. Here we are. Oh, who's that handsome guy?
I know, man, that guy. I'll tell you right there. What's funny about that is I just got those pictures done. My old pictures, I look like I was like 10 years old, had no beard or anything. So I just got those done. So I'm pretty proud of these new pictures. So I'll take that all day long. Nice. So thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. So great. Once again, I thank everybody that's either watching this now or people that are going to be watching this in the future. This is going to be awesome. I'm really, really excited about it. I want to go into, obviously, the hidden costs of negative reviews on Amazon and how to fight back, right? We were kind of talking about it earlier. There's a lot of things that get triggered by reviews, and that's not just sales. Obviously, sales are very important, your BSR, your star rating, all that fun stuff. But there's other things on the back end that maybe you don't even know about, that you could lose functionality because your product starts to lose some traction. And that can be through, obviously either people attacking you, or that also can be through reviews that actually come in. And then obviously we can take a look at those reviews and get those removed for you by filing cases with Amazon. So once again, I'm Shane Barker. I'm actually the owner of Tracefuse. We talked about it earlier, long background in digital marketing, SEO, all that fun stuff. Worked at UCLA for a number of years and created their influencer marketing program. I've been around for a long time. Once again, you can see the gray in the beard. That doesn't mean that I'm smarter. That just means I've been around for a while. So all you young cants, I mean, that absolutely. Anytime you have like the gray in the beard, that's when you're talking with somebody that probably has some experience or just doesn't color their beard. But that's okay. So great. What we're going to cover today is going to be the effects of negative reviews, right? The TOS and community guideline violations, right? So we're going to go in specifics of what you guys can take a look at, and then how it works and what how Tracefuse does things. So the goal today is I am going to tell you guys, the methodology and how we do things at Tracefuse. But I also want you guys to learn the knowledge that if you guys want to try this on your own, that you guys can do that, right? I mean, I encourage everybody. Like I said, I'm the owner. I do like money. I do appreciate people working with us, but I really want people to understand the value of the service. So I always recommend that people try it on their own. And if you're successful, guess what? You don't have to pay us and there's nothing you need to do. If you're unsuccessful, then guess what? You can reach out to us. We'll always be around. So once again, I'm hoping I give you guys, actually, I know I'm going to give you guys enough information today to be dangerous and do this on your own. And once again, if you can't get it done, you can reach out to us at any time. All right, let's see what we got here. So what do reviews affect, right? So we're going to talk about just some of the basic things that people talked about. As we talked about, there's other things behind the scenes that start getting taken away. Once Amazon starts to lose, I would say, trust in your brand, because when you start getting, lower ratings and start getting attacked or things are happening there, Amazon makes an assumption no matter what that, hey, guess what? If you're getting, 1 stars, 2 stars, and 3 stars, that there must be something wrong with your product, right? So that becomes a huge, huge issue. We all know that if you guys launch something and somebody gives you a 1-star review, your launch is gone. Like, it's just not even right. It's done instantly, which is brutal. And we have some things. That's why we once again, I was talking about earlier, that monitoring service that we have, that actually helps that, because if somebody comes in and attacks you guys, we can file cases on that, assuming that it's against Amazon's guidelines or there's something fraudulent there. But let's talk about the things that, we'll just keep this on a surface level of what are the things that the reviews affect. Obviously, your star rating, obviously your brand image and reputation, your product rankings, right? Your BSR, conversion rates, and your PPC costs. So if you really think about that, those are some of the main things. Either you're going to be spending money, or you're going to be trying to, once again, convert people to be able to buy your products. These are some of the major things. And when I say that the reviews are like literally the lifeline or the core of Amazon, that's what it is, right? I mean, it literally affects everything. If you have bad reviews, it crushes you from all angles. If you have great reviews, then you're making more money and you're going to have to hire somebody to count your cash. I mean, that's just how it goes. Next, I'm going to talk about the devastating effects of negative reviews. So when we talk about critical reviews, I'm hoping everybody knows what this is, but if not, I'm going to explain it to you. So when we talk about critical reviews, that's going to be 1, 2s, and 3 stars. Right, that's what Amazon deems as critical reviews. So a 4 and a 5-star would be considered a 4 and a 5-star would be considered positive. So we're looking at only 1, 2s, and 3 stars. I will tell you, just recently we had a client ask us to go after 4 stars, and we'll talk about that probably at the end of this, because once again, you'd think, why would you go after 4 stars? There's actually some different things that I've seen recently that where people are coming in and giving you 4s and 5 stars, but really still saying that your product's good, but this product's better. We'll talk about that. I've got a little bit of a slide on that. We'll talk about that. The other thing I think it's important for people to know is that when you get, when we remove a 1-star, that's going to be equal to, I've heard anywhere from 10 to 25 stars. On this presentation, we're saying 12 stars. It's a lot, right? So at the end of the day, if your goal is like, I'm just going to get more positive reviews, which I would highly recommend, you can never get enough positive reviews. But at the end of the day, if you're like, hey, I'm just going to ignore my negative reviews, even though they keep coming in and we're just going to get more positives, just know that the amount of money you're going to have to spend, or the campaigns that you're going to have to run, or the amount of sales you're going to have to get to be able to get that many 5 stars, that can be an uphill battle. What I would recommend, I always recommend it's like a diet. If you eat right and you work out, you're going to lose weight faster. If you just eat right, you don't work out, or if you just work out and don't eat right, it's going to be a slower process. So as we talk about removing negative reviews, also get as many 4s and 5 stars as possible. I know that's a very basic comment and everybody should do that automatically, but a lot of people aren't doing that. So what are you going to do to make that better? You guys start getting more 4s and 5s. We'll knock down your 1, 2s, and 3s. And then guess what? Good things are going to happen. We'll also talk about, hey, from a 4.3 to a 4.2. I don't know if you guys know this, you can lose anywhere from 10 to 50% of your sales. And what happens is you lose that half a star, and that really is a devastating effect from the psychology of a consumer. And so that is something to really take a look at. We talk about being proactive and not reactive. That's something you have to look at. If you're at a 4.3, you probably want to reach out to us and get us to start monitoring that and start cleaning that up, because you'd like to get you back up to a 4.4 where you can breathe and sleep at night. Because if you get down to a 4.2, it's going to cause a huge effect on your sales. And to try to get back up there can be somewhat of a challenge. Or if you just drop to a 4.2, the likelihood of getting it back up to a 4.3 is going to be higher because you just dropped. So once again, don't Try to be proactive, not reactive. That's my goal. Trying to get every seller to do that. That doesn't always work, but once again, that would be awesome because then you can sleep better at night. And then once again, we're going to talk about the negative reviews and the compounding effect of that, right? Like when you get one, you can't expect to never get negative reviews. If you have no negative reviews, then you're not selling anything. That's just how it goes. That's one thing as a seller that you got to realize is like, hey,
so true.
Yeah, I mean, once you start making some sales, people are going to write reviews. I don't care how great your product is. There's some products that I've seen that don't have a lot of critical reviews. But at the end of the day, try not to take it too personal. I know this is your baby and you've built this up, and guess what? You don't want bad things to happen. But if somebody talks bad about your baby, once again, we'll try to work on those to make your baby look good again. And once again, keep going after the positive reviews. So speaking of babies, let me go ahead and throw this out here for everybody. This is actually a review. I hope this is actually from one of our clients that ended up signing up. So I want you guys to take a look at this. And if you guys think this is literally a screenshot that I took, so I know this is from one of my clients. Yeah. And do you think this review affects sales? So I'm going to read this to everybody. And hopefully this doesn't offend anybody, but it's, I think it's funny. I have a little bit of a sick sense of humor. So this said, okay, this is Jules. She says, it doesn't work. Laugh out loud. This is a baby I had after these morning after pills. So let me explain something. So this thing is a morning after pill that they're selling on Amazon, which is totally legit. Let me read this again. This is a baby I had after using these morning after pills. I took these roughly 8 hours after the deed. I don't think I have to explain what the deed was. I think we're all on the same page how babies are made. If not, Google it. I'm not going to go heavy into details right now. And even took another one the next day to be safe. So she took 2 of these pills, right? Next line. It's okay, though, because I love being a mama and everything worked out okay, but I was pissed, that's in caps, when that pregnancy test came out positive and she has a picture of her baby. So let me reiterate this. She met a very nice gentleman. They did something. They were supposed to take the morning after pill, but she did. She took it twice and it didn't work. And now she put a picture, not of like the morning after pill or what happened there. The baby that she had after that pill didn't work. So I'm being a little facetious about this. I have had a lot of people ask me, is this a review you guys are able to remove? Probably not, right? There's really nothing against Amazon's guidelines here. They're not mentioning pricing or cussing or anything like that. I don't think there was any shipping issues. So anyways, this is just one of those things you take a look at and you go, man, that's what we were trying to stop as a baby, which once again, I love babies. Hopefully nobody takes offense to this, but this was crazy when I saw this. This was one of those reviews. We see crazy reviews all day long. That was one that I had to share with you guys.
Yeah. It's
all right.
Funny.
Yeah. So let's talk about what's not allowed in reviews, right? So we've got an idea of kind of, what the value of the reviews are. So what's not allowed in reviews is talking about a seller, an order, or shipping feedback, comments about pricing or availability, content written in unsupported languages, so depending on which platform you're on, repetitive text, spam, pictures created with symbols, private information, so if you talk about the owner, where they live, that kind of stuff, profanity or harassment, hate speech, sexual contact, external links, right? No affiliate links, ads, conflict of interest, promotional content, compensated reviews, plagiarism, infringement, impersonation, and illegal activity. So those are some of the things that we look at when we talk about things being in violation. And people go, well, how can you remove a critical review? Well, what we're looking at is Amazon's guidelines. We're looking at these types of things and saying, hey, does this review somehow violate some of these things right over here? So that's not a secret sauce. This is what anybody can do. You can take a look at that. And if somebody clearly used the F word in a review, guess what? That's going to be profanity and harassment. That's what you would be when you're filing a case with Amazon. That's what you're going to tell them. Hey, here goes your guys' guidelines. You want to mention the guidelines. This is the review right here. Put the review ID. If you already have a case ID. Anyways, we'll go into that. The idea of this, you want to format it correctly and give Amazon all the information that you need to be able to get that review removed. So for us as Tracefuse, like what we do, and the reason why we've been so successful over the years, I really want to tell you guys how many reviews we remove, but we're going to wait. That's like in like 3 slides out of here. But this is like the big moment. But so we have 3 pillars. One is going to be our data, methodology, and perseverance. So we talk about data. I mean, what we're doing is we're actually collecting reviews off of Amazon, right, to be able to take a look at those. And we run those through our AI software that will tell us whether it's compliant with Amazon or not. And then obviously we file manually. So when any of those reviews come through and we're taking a look at them, what we do is, and then we'll take a look at those. We give those to, I joke around and call these filers. They're humans. They're literally humans. They're not, we don't do any AI with that. And then we manually file with all of those cases. But the other side that we talked about is that we also take a look at fraudulent buyers accounts. So that can be, as I talked about, maybe writing crazy reviews, 1-star reviews, and then giving your competitor 5-star reviews. We also look at multiple buyers accounts. Maybe they hired a virtual assistant and they had 3 reviews that they wanted you to copy and paste. They have 3 buyers accounts. You have, Jennifer in Los Angeles, Mike in Las Vegas, and Renee in Albuquerque. They all bought the same product and wrote the exact same review. Right? Obviously, a virtual assistant went and copy and paste that, put that up there. So we're looking at that as well, right? We're looking at anomalies in the data. That's really what it comes down to. We're obviously filing more cases on violation against Amazon's guidelines than we are escalation cases, but escalation cases are real. The value of that is if we file escalation case, guess what? We remove that buyer's account, you lose your 1-stars and your competitors lose their 5-stars. So that's usually a huge transition, but there's got to be a smoking gun there. You don't want to waste Amazon's time and just file escalation cases just for the heck of it. You want to make sure you have data, and that's really what it comes down to. You want to make sure you're taking the emotion out of what you're filing with Amazon. Amazon doesn't care about your emotion. What they care about is the facts. Right? And if you can give some statistical facts and give all the information so that Amazon can make the right decision to remove that review, then that's what you want to do. Next is going to be our methodology. So that's where we file cases and how we file cases. We file cases with Seller Central, Brand Registry, Seller Central, escalation cases, emails with Amazon. There's a lot of different departments that we file with. What we do, what we've gained, the knowledge we've gained over the last few years is we also know by looking at a review which department we should file with, and once again, what is going to be that removal rate, or approximately what that removal rate is going to be. So that's very, very valuable. We also know the terminology to use. We know how long to wait until we're going to do a follow-up. There's certain cadences and certain things that we've learned over the years through filing thousands of cases with our clients that make it so that we have some very special, I would say, proprietary or stuff that we do on the back end. Nothing crazy. We don't file any different than you guys do, but at the end of the day, we know exactly how to put those cases together, which is really the secret sauce. Next is going to be perseverance, right? We've all sent cases to Amazon and maybe didn't have them respond. Amazon is a huge platform, growing every day, extremely busy. I think they do their best to do what they can to be able to respond. But at the end of the day, if they don't respond, we have it in the back end of our system where we can go and our filers will make sure that they're staying on top of them every 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, depending on which department we're filing with. But once again, we're not bombarding Amazon. We're not sending them a message every hour to ask what's going on. We understand that there's a cadence to this that we have to keep with Amazon. Next, I'm going to go into exactly our methodology and our process, kind of what we do. So what happens is when you guys are going to go in, and if you guys wanted to sign up with us, you guys would just add your merchant token. So when you add your merchant token, what will happen is that pulls in all of your ASINs in the back end of the dashboard, and you guys will be in charge of activating and deactivating ASINs at will. So you can really do that anytime you want. We don't control any of that. You guys have full functionality on the back end. What that does is that downloads the ASINs. So we see all the ASINs come in. We get the review data. You'll know how many 1, 2s, and 3 stars you have, 4s and 5s. Also goes into the category. There's a lot of information there. And then what happens is we run that. Once you guys activate an ASIN, we grab those critical reviews. We grab those 1, 2s, and 3 stars. We run them through our AI software. And that just tells us what's compliant, what's not compliant. And then guess what? We're going to be filing on the cases that are not compliant. The other ones that aren't compliant, you might not like those critical reviews. You might want them to get removed. But guess what? We're not filing on anything that isn't in violation of Amazon's guidelines. That's very, very important to do. You don't want to waste Amazon's time, right? If you get Amazon's attention, if you start spamming them, you start hitting them with 10, 20, 30 messages a day, cases and all kinds of stuff, they will block you. They will not respond to you. So just know that we take that very seriously. And if they say you can file this many cases, we're filing this many cases. We want to make sure that we're obviously compliant with Amazon. What we do is we figure out what those non-compliant reviews are going to be doing. And then there we go. We're going to be filing those cases for you guys. And like I said, at the end of this thing, after I go through this whole spiel about how awesome Tracefuse is, I'm going to give you guys a new tool that we created that you guys can try to file on your own. So once again, don't, ignore the sales part unless you really feel like, hey, this is now the time to move forward. There's going to be something juicy at the end for you guys as well. Because I would love for you guys to remove the reviews on your own if you can. If not, once again, as I said, we'll always be here. So
Yeah.
These are going to be some of our current clients that we have. These are actually video testimonials on our website. So if you guys want to go to the website and take a look at them, we did video testimonials because there's plenty of companies that say they have success and they do this and they do that. And with what we do, obviously in the beginning, a lot of people didn't believe we could do what we said we could do. So guess what? We told our clients and said, hey, is there any way you guys would do a video testimonial for us? And these are real clients that are obviously went in and did a video testimonial and said, hey, this was our problem. This is how Tracefuse helped us. And I'll go into some of those right now. So this is 𝗏𝗂𝗋𝗋𝗋. This is obviously Dave and his company. They fell from a 4.3 to 4.2. Nothing against Dave, but that was not being proactive. But guess what? He came and was proactive. After he got down to 4.2, he reached out to us and we removed 8 out of 92 of his critical reviews in the first 5 weeks, which moved him pretty aggressively back up to the 4.3. Obviously, which is, you don't want to get down to that 4.2 range or even below that. Next is going to be, this is Emily from Organic Care. We had 25 reviews removed, which helped increase their sales by 15%, and the performance obviously moving forward, right? So if you increase the sales by 15% this month, guess what? That's also good for next month. That's going to keep compounding as long as you keep those reviews off there and keep getting positive reviews. And then Gout and You, this is Spiro. What happened is we moved over 100 reviews. We had about a 20% success rate with that. Obviously, he was pretty excited about that because, the goal of this and what he was looking for is somebody that can just get the reviews removed and he doesn't have to really focus on that. He wants to focus on other aspects of his business. So nice little quote from him says, hey, this was seamless and stress-free. That's exactly what we want it to be for our clients. The goal is with Tracefuse is for it to be set it and forget it. You go in, you can set it, you activate your ASINs, we'll take it from there. We don't want you to have to do anything. If you want to add context to some reviews, we make that so you can do that. But at the end of the day, you've got enough to deal with between sales and PPC and growth and all this other fun stuff. We want you to not worry about reviews, which I can tell you up until people sign up with us, that's the number one thing, or should be, probably is one of the number one things that they get stressed out about, right? Because when reviews come in, you're like, dang it, there's nothing I can do. Well, guess what? There is something you can do now. In fact, you could just give the keys to us and we'll take over. So this is going to be some other clients that we've worked with. Obviously, I worked with Tracefuse for a little over 6 months and have seen improvement in both our star rating as well as our BSR. I plan to continue working with them. That's Travel Rest. And this is Organomuscle. This is James over there. I would recommend this to any business leader or entrepreneur who's pouring their heart and soul into products while other people are playing dirty and attacking their listings. It's great to have Tracefuse in your corner as a defense mechanism. James reached out to us because he's obviously in the supplement space, was getting attacked, and we were able to obviously clean up his listings, and now he's being monitored, so he doesn't have to stress out about that as much. And then Dave, Dave was actually one of our original clients. He's a 7-figure seller. I would highly recommend Tracefuse. It's extremely beneficial, not only in helping with fraudulent reviews, but ultimately to help with the overall product listing and to ultimately optimize your Amazon listing. So enough of the propaganda. Now, this is the one that I've been kind of waiting to tell everybody. This is what's funny. So this is my humble brag moment. So we've removed over 13,000 reviews. I talked to my team this morning. It was 12,000. Now it's 13. We've removed 13,000 critical reviews to date. So let me let that really, really sink in. That's 13,000. We have over 500 clients and we removed 13,000 critical reviews. I will tell you, I talk to sellers almost 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 a day. I mean, my calendar's been going crazy. Most people can't remove one review, right? One critical review, let alone 13,000. And so it was funny when I started the company, we first went out. First of all, people were like, yeah, there's no way you can move critical reviews. It's not possible. I don't care if you've been selling on Amazon for a month or 20 years. Nobody believed it. It took a lot to be able to get over that hump for people to finally believe it. People trusted the system. And here we are almost 3 years later. We've removed over 13,000 reviews. The funny part is nobody believed we could remove one. And now that we removed 13,000, people are like, there's no way you've done that. I get it. I get it. The numbers seem pretty crazy, but I am telling you right now, I will pinky swear promise. I swear on my mother's name, on everything that I am, my business that I built, we've removed over 13,000 reviews for our clients. So once again, it hasn't been easy. I'm not going to say this was an easy journey. I probably have 5,000 other businesses that would have been easier than this. But I will tell you that we've had some great successes, and it really, really, really makes me happy because our clients they can sleep better and they can focus on other things on their business. So I will tell you our average success rate is right around 5 to 15%. We say 10% overall categories, but we've seen in like pets, supplements, beauty, we get somewhere sometimes up in the 25%. We've gotten up to 30%, I think is the highest that we got just recently. That's not what we commit to. We commit to a 10%. But once again, just depends on the category. And once again, we can take a look at all that stuff and do a demo for everybody and everything. So let me get into the pricing and kind of our pricing model and how we run things. So we are a performance-based company, which means we only get paid when reviews get removed, right? So we charge $250 for every review that successfully gets removed. So not cases filed, only unsuccessful removals, right? So once again, people love that about us, that we're performance driven. And we also have, it's a setup fee, but it's really a lifetime monitoring fee of $750. And let me explain the value of that. This is where things get really interesting because we didn't want to charge a monthly fee. That $750 covers your whole merchant token, right? So that's whether you have one ASIN or 10,000 ASINs. And it also covers all of your future ASINs that you add under the same merchant token. So if you added 10 more products, those will also be covered and monitored for free. All you have to do is when they get pulled into the dashboard, you just activate them and now we'll be monitoring. So that monitoring fee, once again, is $750, but that's a one-time fee. You'll never pay that again. You can deactivate all of your ASINs and reactivate in 6 months. Once again, we don't charge a monthly fee. That is a one-time fee so people can be monitored and have peace of mind. And trust me, that's going to be very beneficial when we got, Prime Day coming around and holidays and stuff like that. And also we only, as you know, performance driven. So we only bill as they get removed. We don't have any contracts. We don't have any retainers, no other monthly fees. Our goal is if you're happy with us, then you're going to continue with us. If you're not happy with us, then you won't, or you'll just deactivate your ASINs. But the good part is really nobody cancels with us because there's really no need to. You can just deactivate an ASIN. When new products come on, I would highly recommend activating those so we're monitoring those for launches and stuff. So anyways, this is that's our little pricing model. So our next steps, the nice people over here at this is intelliTALKS, but at intelliRANK, we worked out a deal where they actually said, hey, we want to give our followers, the people that are watching this today, a deal. So what we're actually going to be doing is if you guys click on this right here, intelliRANK has worked it out so that they actually are going to pay for your first 2 reviews removed for free. So once again, that is a promotion that they're running. You guys go and click on that. You guys get 2 reviews removed for free, which is a $500 value, and that's for free. So once again, you want to thank you guys for watching this today. This has been awesome. This is the benefit of watching this and obviously following intelliRANK, which is absolutely an insane company. I think we all know that. There's a reason why you guys are watching this today. They've done amazing things. Now let me show you the last thing. Now that we got all the propaganda and all the fun stuff out of the way, let me show you guys a new tool. Oh, here, let me just talk about the takeaways. Yeah, right. You guys already know all this stuff, right? Reviews seem legitimate. It can still contain violation against Amazon's guidelines. Somebody could write a legit review, but still cuss in it, mention competitors or pricing. Tracefuse is completely white hat. Once again, we don't violate Amazon's guidelines at all. And the software detects critical reviews, and our team manually files cases. And then obviously we don't get paid unless we remove a review. This is actually what I was really, really excited about. Is we actually just launched this. You guys are the first people to see this. This is actually an Amazon review checker. So you'll see here on the bottom right-hand corner, you guys can go and look at this URL, what this will actually do. So when people come to us and they say, hey, Shane, I want to know how many critical reviews do you think that we have? And then we want to know how many of those do we think that might be in violation of Amazon's guidelines? We heard you and we created something around that. So what they can do is you can go in and put in your ASIN. So you'll go to this page over here. You put in your ASIN, what will happen is it usually take about a few hours. We have to pull the data. We pull all the data in. You have to verify your email address, verify your email. Great. What we do is we actually create a report, and you'll see in this report has a little picture of what the product is. Here goes the ASIN. Here goes the number of critical reviews, right? So, or the number of reviews in total, and you'll see how many critical reviews we have there. This is the title. This is the star rating. And what happens here, we have the review ID. When you guys can click on this, it'll take you to the actual review. This is the review title. This is the star rating. And this is the reason why these reviews are non-compliant with Amazon. So we actually run this against Amazon's guidelines, kind of like we do internally at Tracefuse. But what we're doing is we're making it so now you guys can run your own report. You can go in and see what the issues are with these and say, hey, Amazon, you actually can take this report and you can file this with Amazon. So what we're doing is making it so you guys can go and try it on your own. I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I really hope you guys are successful. Once again, I want to grow the business and I like money, but at the end of the day, I would rather you guys, if you guys are able to crack this code and figure this out, We created this for you guys. Go give it a try. See what you guys can do. The report is absolutely free. Another thing I will show you that you're going to absolutely love that our paying clients have access to, obviously when they're paying, is this review calculator. So you'll see this right here. You see these critical reviews. When you click on the review calculator, it'll pop up, and what it'll do, it'll tell you approximately how many critical reviews you need to do to get from a, let's say, a 4.1 to a 4.2. And now, once again, this is in beta, right? Amazon doesn't tell us the exact algorithm, but we do know this is very close. So when you look at that, that will kind of tell you, hey, if I need to get from a 4.1 to a 4.2, we need to remove, let's say, 10 critical reviews. And then what is that going to look like? Right? Like, how much is that going to cost you? And is that going to make sense from an ROI perspective, right? That calculator is really for you guys to say, hey, if I have to go from a 3.5 to a 4.5 and we have to remove 40 reviews, is that going to make sense to go and pay that cost to be able to get back up to that? Because maybe your sales will double. I don't know. You guys know your sales better than I do. But anyways, that's the point of this. So this is awesome. Please go check this out. This can be your first line of defense to go try to file on the reviews yourself. This is exact software that we use on the back end that nobody sees. We're now giving it to the public, and you guys can go click on that. And once again, thank you guys so much for taking the time. And intelliRANK, hey, we love you guys, man. Thank you guys so much for having me today, man. I mean, this has been, we've always been big fans. I've seen you guys at shows. We've always had great conversations, but when you guys reached out about, doing a presentation like this, I was super excited about it. And once again, thank you guys so much.
Oh, thank you, Shane. And like boom, mic drop. That was amazing. No, really, you covered it all. I mean, yeah, talking about do it yourself. You can definitely let me take this out of the way. So people see you. So you have the do it yourself version. You have the do it with Tracefuse version. You do the choosing. But at the end of the day, you want a long-term business. You have to commit to something. That's definitely a good way of working. Shane, that was amazing, and thank you for all the great information that you've shared. I'll make sure to add in the description in the video here all the links, and if any questions arise, we can definitely reach out to Shane and to the team. Anything for that matter. Shane, awesome. That was amazing, brother. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, so also mention if you guys want to see Shane again, we'll definitely get him aboard and buy him a beer at the next conference we meet. And why not get him for more valuable information and insights, and maybe he can share even more information with you if that's the case. But Shane, it's been a pleasure and lovely. Myself, I'm amazed by this, so I didn't know. So for me, it's like first time I see it. And happy to have you, Shane.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. And absolutely, because of the red beard, you can absolutely buy me a beer. I'll tell you all kinds of stuff about reviews on Amazon.
Definitely. It's a date.
That's awesome.
All right. Thank you, everyone. And we'll definitely be in touch. Until next time.
Thank you so much, man. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.